Hey, thank you for joining me. I'm Peter Rivera and AKA Pete the Peptide Guy, and I am at the podcast lane. Today's guest is Nancy Shenker. Um, and I got to jump right into this. It says also known as Nancy AF.
Yes.
Please explain that.
Well, the A is my middle initial, which people often ask me, what does it stand for? And the answer is it doesn't stand for anything. My mother gave me the middle initial and decided that when I got old enough, I could pick my own middle name, which I never did. And when I hit 69 last year or this year, I decided that I wanted to create a personal brand. I've worked for companies my entire life, including my own company, but I wanted to really lean into being my best badass self. And it was originally going to be Nancy AS, my initials, and somebody misheard me and thought I said Nancy AF. I'm like, you know what? That is way better because I no longer give an F. At the age of almost 70, having been through a lot of shit in my life, can I say shit?
Yes, you can. You can, yeah, this is your time.
Um,
Absolutely.
so yeah, I am laying the groundwork for other women like me who are going to live to be 100, um, and figuring out how to do it all.
That's actually great. And you know what? And the AF acronym suits you. So totally. So this thing on branding, I see it a lot all over social media, and people are trying to brand themselves. What specifically does that really mean?
All right. Well, my background in corporate was in corporate branding, like Citibank, the city never sleeps, a tagline that has existed for years. Mastercard, I was there during the development of Priceless. So I was steeped in this whole notion of company branding, having a brand that stands for something and is timeless. And personal branding is basically following that exact same process, but as a human. And what do you stand for? What is your soul? What is your genuine point of difference? And that's really key. And that's the part that a lot of people miss. They think that because they just dress a certain way or have a clever tagline, that is a brand. But a true brand is genuine, it's timeless, it's real. And most important, somebody else can't replicate it. Like you are Pete the peptide guy. I'm sure the way you dispense peptides is different from the way everybody else does. And it's how you do what you do that really makes for a true brand. So I think there's brand with a small b of people who are dancing on TikTok or aspiring to be influencers, but we'll see where they are 10, 20, 30 years from now. Those may not necessarily be true brands.
Yeah, no, and that's a great definition, and I appreciate the authenticity because I think that's really what it comes from, right? Being your authentic self helps you with that brand part, with the big B, and not the little b. So I understand you launched something on your 69th birthday. By the way, 69, I need to see some ID, okay? Because I'm not buying it. Um,
This is the new 69,
okay.
and peptides help. A little plug for what you do.
Well, I appreciate
As I
it.
like to say, yes, I look 69. It's just everybody else that looks like hell.
I think that's fantastic. So tell me, what did you do on your 69th birthday and
Well,
why?
that was when I launched Nancy AF and
Okay.
gave myself permission to promote myself as a brand because I was always the person behind the person. When I worked in corporate, I wrote speeches and did branding and made other people look good. And then when I turned 69, I said, you know what? Now it's my time. I'm My kids are grown, my parents are gone, I've built my own business. Now, for a little while, let it be about me, but not me in a narcissistic, looky, 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 how cool am I? But in helping other people learn from the 70, almost 70 years of lessons, business and life lessons.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Was there one moment that brought you to that on that 69th birthday? Was there just one episode that was like, yeah, I got to flip the switch here?
No, it's kind of a slow burn. I got on the speaking circuit maybe 10 years ago, which was huge for me because I was the shy, weird kid as a little girl. Like I was the director, I was the script writer, the prop master, but the thought of my actually going out on stage was terrifying to me. I did stand-up comedy a couple of times. So as I said, it was a slow burn. And then when I turned 69, the stars all aligned. I had a lull in my business, and I'm like, all right, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. And that's one of my key lessons is sometimes like skiing. You first time I skied a black diamond, I looked down the hill, I'm like, I'm going to break my freaking neck, and then I just went for it.
Awesome. Awesome. I mean, that really is a fantastic story. And again, in my world too, and in the peptide industry, we're finding that the people over halftime, as I call it, over that magic age of 50 is a large group of us. And we're looking for that next 50 and it to be a very promising, health span, longevity space where, you know what, we learned from the first 50 and now we're going to live our best life in the second 50, right?
Exactly, exactly. My Substack is called the Silver Hair Playbook: How to Be a Badass After 50, and that's really what it's all about because I am writing the playbook. Nobody told me how to live from 70 to 100. So we're figuring that out as we go along.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing. What has been like your biggest success? If you have a story or you have an instance that something happened where you were like, wow, okay, I'm in the right space to do this.
Well, my biggest success in life is having two great daughters and four grandkids. So family, friends always come first. My personal success is really just getting to this age and still believing that I have another 30 great years left. Every single step along the way, it's been a progression. People talk about pivots and transformations, but as I said before, slow burn is really what it's all about. Slow burn, but then you have to turn up your own heat.
Yeah, I hear you. No, and you definitely have. And like I said, I definitely we're gonna ID check you when we're done with this segment.
And I have my
Uh,
bad days, trust me.
you,
It's not all unicorns and rainbows and sunshine. There are moments when I don't want to get out of my pajama
mm,
my cooling pajamas, eating, my bag of chips and watching reality TV. But you've got to like self-talk way more after 50 than you do under 50 for sure.
yeah. If you could give some advice to somebody that's listening right now and they're like, you know what, regardless of age or where they're at, I want to do that. Like, I want to, can they can they be their own brand? Like any suggestions you can give?
Yeah, you have to really, really be honest with yourself. Who are you? How are you different from everybody else? I think there's this false belief that if you just post a lot, or you dance particularly well on TikTok, or you talk about celebrities on your morning Instagram, that you will become suddenly famous. But you have to, like everything else in life, you have to work on yourself first. And then the process that I recommend to my clients is also coming up with a short list of adjectives, no more than 10, that you would just use to describe yourself. And then reaching out to people who are in your inner circle and say, is this valid? And then looking at it relative to other people in your space and say, is this unique enough that I'm really going to stand out versus my competition, whoever that is?
That's fantastic. Okay, so you mentioned clients. So tell me what's that like? So like, what if I want to be your client? How does that work?
So I give everybody 20 minutes free just so we could see if the fit is right. Marketing relationships are like dating, where you could think you're compatible and then you get into it and you say the work styles are very different. So, first 20 minutes free. And then I have packages. It's either an hourly, what people have called the NANCYAF Power Hour, or if somebody needs ongoing coaching, it's like every other business arrangement
Right.
today. It's like a subscription model for 6 months, a year, where I'll be like your branding coach and help you along the way as you build your fame and fortune.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. I could have used that a long time ago. I tell you that one of the bumps and bruises I took.
It's never too
I
late. You
don't
could get
know.
to the next stage of peptide marketing,
You're
which has
right.
become a very cluttered field, as
Oh,
we know.
amazingly cluttered. So really quickly, because I want to hit this. You're a huge fan of AI.
Love AI.
Okay, why?
Well, I was described as the Martha Stewart of technology by a very close friend of mine. So basically, I've been using technology since I was a little kid, going from a manual typewriter to an IBM Selectric to a PC to a handheld device. And I realized along the way that technology is just a tool that frees up more space for you to enjoy your human life. You know, if you had a choice, would you take an old squeegee mop or a Roomba or a vacuum cleaner? So technology is not the devil. If used properly, it frees up time and brain space for you to do other more valuable things. And that's how I view AI. I call all my AI assistants Beulah because Mae West in an old movie flounced into a room one day and said, Beulah, peel me a grape. And that's what my AI is to me. It's my Beulah, which does all of the crap work that I don't want to do or that I'm not good at.
Right. So Nancy, if somebody wants to get in contact with you, connect with you, how do they do it?
NANCYAF.com. I'm also on every social media platform except for TikTok, but 2026, that is a goal. And follow me wherever you get your social media. And I do also have a podcast called AgeBlind, where I bring together random guests to talk about topics related to sex, life, and tech across the generations.
Oh, excellent. So Nancy, thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you
Thank you, Pete.
and being on the podcast lane. This is Pete, the peptide guy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.